So we have a diagram here, which is a gentle slope from what we see here. So the first question says, what process is likely to occur on the farmland when it rains heavily? Now with a farmland like this, what you expect is soil erosion. And the II says state 2 farming practices that can also lead to the process mentioned in I. Other processes that can lead to soil erosion are overgrazing and then deforestation. Then the III says list 4 farming practices that could be used to control the process mentioned in I. So 1, contour plowing, which is plowing along contour lines instead of plowing on the slope. Then the second one is terracing. Terracing is about creating stepped levels of slope, so like the steps, so that when the topsoil is being washed away, to just be settling on each step. The next one is planting cover crops like clove, so it helps to hold the soil in place to prevent it from being washed away. Then the next one is practicing agroforestry. It includes planting trees and shrubs where the roots will be able to hold the soil in place. And the IV says mention 3 soil resources that would be depleted from the farmland when it rains heavily. So when it rains heavily, the topsoil will be washed away. 1, organic matter will also be lost. Then also soil nutrients will also be lost. The table below illustrates a farming system practiced by a farmer. Study the table carefully and answer the questions that follow. So the first question says, name and explain the farming practice being practiced above. So we have season 1 maize, season 2 maize, season 3 maize, season 4 maize. And looking at the farming practices, this is monoculture. The next question says, state 2 advantages of the system being practiced by the farmer. Advantages of monoculture. So the farmer is able to, 1, specialize and become efficient at, in this case, maize. So the farmer becomes a specialist in cultivating of maize, because year after year or season after season, he keeps planting maize. He begins to know his mistakes and then correct them and then build on the good practices that gives him more yield. The next one is simplified management. He doesn't need to have a lot of tools or implements for different purposes. Once he gets all the implements he needs for cultivating maize, he's done. So the first one is specialization, and the second one is simplified management. And the third question says, speak to disadvantages of the system being practiced by the farmer. Now, this system could lead to soil depletion. For example, maize is a shallow-rooted crop, so all the nutrients at the shallow part of the soil could be depleted. And also, pests and diseases will build up since he keeps planting the same crop season after season. So all the diseases and pests that affect maize will keep, breeding and then growing on the farmland. And the IV says, mention 2 factors that influence the type of farming system practiced in a community. So in this community, in any community, first of all, what the farmer will consider is the climate and the soil type, even to the point where he has to measure the soil pH and also economic consideration. So what type of crops do you think will be patronized or will be purchased by people in a community? Mr. Alidu owns a 15-acre parcel of farmland along the Denso River. During the rainy season, his cattle grazes on the plants. During the dry season, he grows maize on portions of the land to prepare feed for his farm animal. So I says, what method of farming is Mr. Alidu engaged in? This type of farming where he's rearing farm animals and then he's growing maize as well is called mixed farming. Or in other words, agro-pastoralism. So explain why the livestock is allowed to graze in the plain in the rainy season, not in the dry season. So in the rainy season, the vegetation is very fresh That is why they are allowed to graze during the rainy season. And I says state one benefit that Mr. Alidu is likely to gain from the cattle that graze along the plains. Okay, so their manure or droppings would help to improve the fertility of the soil. It helps to improve the soil structure and then help the plants grow very well. Then the next question says, state and explain one disadvantage of allowing the livestock to graze on the plain land. It can lead to overgrazing. It can also in turn lead to soil erosion when it rains. Then the vein says, name two plant parts of the maize that Mr. Alidu can use to feed his livestock during the dry season. So he can use the leaves, he can also use the stalk. Then the next question, vein I says, how does Mr. Alidu get water for his crops during the dry season? So Mr. Alidu owns a 15-acre parcel of farmland along the Dainsu River. During the rainy season, his cattle graze on the plains. During the dry season, he grows maize on portions of the land to prepare feed for the farmland. So since it's along the Dainsu River, he can use irrigation. So the next question here says the table below shows an incomplete crop rotation schedule that the farmer used in his farm for a 4-year rotation program. Read it carefully and answer the questions as follows. So unfortunately, my table here has already been filled, but it isn't much of a problem at all. So let's copy and complete the table for the 4-year rotation plan. So you are supposed to draw anytime you see copy and complete, draw again and then fill in. Now, with the crop rotation program, the trick is to always fill the crops diagonally. So you can see the pattern. So for yam, moving in this direction, for cowpea, also moving in this direction, for tomato, also moving in this direction, and then maize as well. You can see maize here as well. So always fill in the diagonal. So the empty spaces, just draw a line through and then fill in with the crops. So you can see that the I is tomato, I is maize, I is cowpea, and then I then is maize. Then it says state two principles that the farmer considered before drawing up this rotation plan. So deep rooted crops should follow shallow rooted crops, or deep rooted crops follow shallow rooted crops. And then there should always be a legume. Then the III says which of the crops improve soil fertility and why? There's a legume that improves the soil fertility because the legume is a cowpea because legumes are able to incorporate nitrogen into the soil. Now nitrogen is one of the major nutrients of the soil. State two benefits that the farmer is likely to get by practicing crop rotation. So the farmer is able to maintain the soil fertility and also pests and diseases are controlled since there are different types of crops planted in the same farm. So these pests and diseases will not be able to thrive along on the farmland.